As prices in San Diego become more and more dismembering to your dream of owning a home here, you need a strategy to get into the market so you can start benefiting from it. Building a down payment for a home is the largest challenge any buyer has when getting a home. So if you're struggling to save for a down payment for a home, if you're tired of paying rent that's only fueling someone else's retirement, if you feel lost with how to get ahead of the real estate market here in San Diego, this video is for you. In case you don't know me, I'm Karl Kyler, your San Diego Realtor, and thanks for joining me in this video. With San Diego prices growing year after year and the high cost of living here, saving for a down payment can feel impossible though. But what if I told you that I have four simple strategies, ones that an overwhelming majority of people overlook, that you can literally start right now, as soon as you finish watching this video, of course. Would that spark your interest to watch further? Of course it would. And what if I told you that these 4 strategies won't force you to give up the San Diego lifestyle that you love?
I don't believe this. I don't believe you.
It's not about skipping a weekend brunch, a Cali craft beer, or a sunset cocktail, because those are absolute necessities if you live in San Diego. Stick around, I'm gonna walk you through these 4 simple strategies to save up that down payment faster than you think, all without sacrificing the things that make living here in San Diego so very special. And if you hang around to the very end, I've got one bonus strategy that's kind of unconventional, but it can help you save additional thousands. Real quick, if it's the case you're ready to explore which neighborhood might be the best fit for you, I'm here to help. I have people like you reaching out to me every week to help them with their next move, whether it's buying, selling, or even relocating to San Diego. Let's chat about your specific needs. You can reach me directly on my cell or through any of the contact methods I listed in the description below. Now, let's dig into this. To start off, I feel like we ought to go over the groundwork real quick before we jump into my strategies to make sure you're on the right path. Before anything, you should have a goal and a plan to get there. For example, say you want to save up $100,000 for your down payment on your home. That's terrific. Step 1 of having a goal is complete. Now, step 2 is the plan. In this example, it could be that you're going to put away, let's say $2,000 a month into a savings account for this down payment. So roughly $1,000 a paycheck if you get paid twice a month. Boom, step 2 is complete. As simple as this sounds. The crazy thing is, an overwhelming majority of people who want to buy someday don't do these 2 steps.
What the heck?
Now that we got the foundation out of the way, let's move into the strategies. Kicking it off with strategy number 1 to help you save for that down payment. Getting rid of debt, specifically credit card debt to start. I'll address the other debts afterwards. Here's an absolute fact. You cannot outsave the interest on your credit cards. Those rates are way too steep. Attempting this is like trying to ice skate uphill with the wind blowing against you. Now, some financial gurus on TikTok or YouTube might tell you that debt is good, but for the overwhelming majority of people, debt is bad and it only makes things worse. So the first step to saving for that down payment is to pay off your credit card debts. Credit card interest rates are typically going to be between 20 and 30%. And Wallet Hub says that the average household credit card debt for Californians is $13,416. If we take that amount and times it by 20 to 30%, that means you're paying roughly $2,600 to $4,100 a year in interest. And that's only the interest on the debt. That doesn't include paying down the debt itself. That's a stupid amount of money to pay to someone else just to borrow their money.
So stupid.
So how do you tackle this mountain of debt? First, you have to stop adding to it. I get it, it's hard, especially when you've got online shopping, quick delivery, and so much other cool stuff to do here in San Diego every day. And personally, I'm susceptible to DoorDash food delivery, but here's the deal. If you wanna dig yourself out of a hole, you gotta put down the damn shovel. If you can't control the use of your credit cards, cut the cards up. Freeze them, do whatever you gotta do to take them out of the equation. As soon as you take control and stop adding to the debt, you're ready to tackle it. And there are 2 ways to go about doing so. You've got the debt snowball and the debt avalanche. The debt snowball strategy is all about momentum. You list all your debts from smallest balance to the largest. Forget the interest rates for just a second. You're going to focus on paying off the smallest balance first while maintaining the minimum payments on everything else. Take every dollar you have, any cashback rewards you have on those standing credit cards, any piggy bank money you might have stashed away, apply it all to that first debt ASAP. Why? Because getting that first debt out of the way gives you the quick win and starts the momentum going. When you see that balance hit zero, it will give you a boost of confidence and immediately feels like progress. Once that first debt is gone, you take that minimum payment that you were paying towards it and you roll it into the next debt on the list, like a snowball gaining speed as it rolls downhill. The snowball method works because it's psychological. You see progress early on, which keeps you motivated. Now, let's talk about the debt avalanche. This one's a bit more math focused. With the debt avalanche, you list all of your debts based on the interest rate from the highest to the lowest. Your focus will be to pay off the debt with the highest interest rate first while maintaining the minimum payments on all of your other debts. The point of this approach is to knock out the debt that's costing you the most money over time. Once the highest debt is gone, you do the same thing with the next debt in line. The avalanche method saves you the most money and interest in the long run and is faster when paying off debt if you're paying the same amount between the two methods. But the debt avalanche doesn't have the same psychological impact. Now, just to be clear here, there is no right or wrong. There's only the method that works best for you. One may be faster than the other, but if it's not as effective for you, it doesn't make as much sense. If it's the case you can control your use of credit cards, here's an extra tip. Check to see if any of your current credit cards offer 0% interest on a balance transfer. Or you can find a credit card you can apply for that has this option. A lot of credit cards have these offers and it can buy you some time to pay down your debts without being buried in interest. I regularly see 0% transfers from 12 to 24 months being offered, but this is very important. You gotta use that time wisely. It's not a get out of jail free card. This is your window to make a big dent in your debts without racking up more interest. Whichever way you choose to tackle your debt, the key is sticking with it. Whether you're motivated by quick wins with the debt snowball or saving the most in interest with the debt avalanche, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you commit and follow through. Each time you knock out a debt, that's more money in your pocket to put towards the next debt on your list. And that's how you can compound your impact and win this game. All right. So we've covered why credit card debt has to go first. It's got sky-high interest rates that make it impossible to outsave. But what about other debts like car loans or student loans? Sure, typically those debts have lower interest rates, but it's not always about the interest rate. It's about the size of the monthly payment. Watch this. A $30,000 car loan comes with roughly a $550 monthly payment. At the same time, $30,000 in the form of a mortgage comes out to about $200, less than half. So if you were able to pay off your car loan, you could then take on a higher mortgage amount and be accountable to less monthly debt. Also, the more debt you carry into homeownership, the less room you have to handle everything else that comes with owning a home. Things like termite maintenance, fixing that leaky faucet, or replacing a water heater. These are the kinds of costs that pop up out of nowhere. And if your budget is already stretched by a big car payment or a hefty student loan bill, you're gonna feel the pinch. Now, I'm not saying you should wipe out every last debt before you start saving for your home, but what I am saying is to think about your overall financial picture. If paying off that car loan or student loan gives you more breathing room each month, it could make sense to tackle those debts first. Less debt means more flexibility and less stress when that inevitable home repair comes knocking. The fact of the matter is that you will never, and I mean never, hear anybody regret not having any debt. Now, this point pairs really well with what I have to share in Strategy 3, but before we jump into that, we gotta cover Strategy 2 first. After you've tackled your debts and freed yourself from allowing creditors to make money off of you, now it's your turn. Strategy 2 is about using a high yield savings account, aka an HYSA. With your credit cards and loans, creditors and banks made money off of you borrowing from them. Now you have the opportunity to be the bank, more or less, and make money off of someone else. HYSAs are savings accounts designed to operate like almost every other savings account, but with higher interest rates that benefit you. And here's how they work. Unlike the typical savings account you might have at your local bank, which typically pays 0.01%, HYSAs offer significantly higher rates, sometimes more than 20 times the national average of regular savings accounts. This means while your money sits in an HYSA, it's earning more money every day by just sitting there. Now, why are these rates higher? HYSAs are typically offered by online banks that have lower overhead costs than traditional brick and mortar institutions. These savings allow them to offer more attractive interest rates making your money work harder for you. It's an ideal place to park your funds if you're saving for a specific goal like a down payment, because it combines the safety of a regular savings account with the high return of a more aggressive investment option, all while keeping your funds liquid. And many of them come FDIC insured. Now, will an HYSA make a massive difference in your payment fund? No. It's not gonna skyrocket your savings overnight, but what it will do is a lot more than just letting your money sit in a standard savings account, earning like almost next to nothing. Here's an example of how much you could be missing out on. Bank of America and Chase offer 0.01% APY on their savings accounts. With $100,000 in one of their savings accounts for a whole year, you would earn $10. With an HYSA, let's say at 4% APY, you'll earn $4,000. See how much of a massive difference that is? HYSAs are the first and easiest step towards getting your money to start working for you while retaining liquidity. And here's a smart way to go about it. Open up a separate HYSA specifically for your down payment fund. This account is dedicated solely to the future of your home. No dipping into it for vacations, gadgets, or any other expenses. Every dollar in this account is for one purpose only: getting you into that San Diego home. Now, I bet I can guess what you're thinking. How much of a difference is this really going to make? Well, it might not change the game entirely, but why not let your savings grow while you're working towards a home anyways? Even a few extra $100 or $1,000 in interest over time can go a long way towards covering things like closing costs, moving expenses, or just giving you the extra cushion once you move in your home. I had a client do this strategy, and when the time came for him to purchase his first home, the interest he gained from his HYSA was enough to cover his closing costs. Now, mind you, he was purchasing a home at a pretty high price point, so his closing costs were significant. This interest definitely helped him further the impact of the money that he was setting aside for that down payment. The days of letting your money sit without doing anything for you are over. You worked hard to earn that money. It's time that we let that money work for you. When choosing an HYSA, you need to do your research. Not all HYSA accounts are created equal. You want to look at the minimum interest rate, minimum balance requirements, and whether there are any fees that could eat into your earnings. And here's a bonus tip. And remember, this is not tax advice or financial advice. Something else I do is tie up portions of money in US Treasuries if the rate is higher than what my HYSA is offering. US Treasuries can offer better returns, and they're exempt from state income tax. So if the yields on Treasuries are higher than your HYSA, it might make sense to move some funds there. Be sure to keep in mind when you'll need to access the money, as Treasuries have maturity periods. And if you want to know what bank I use for my HYSA, I'll drop that in the description below. And I'll also see if I can find an affiliate link that will offer any incentives for you. To recap, open an HYSA specifically for your down payment. Research your options and don't touch that money for anything other than your home purchase. If the numbers work out, consider using US Treasuries for an even better return. The key here is to make sure your savings is always working for you, especially since it's only sitting there. Every dollar counts when you're saving for a home here in San Diego. Now, if it's the case you already do this step and have a great HYSA, or you did your research and found a really good one, please, in the comments below, share who you recommend. This will support others that are on the same path to ownership as you. I know that sounds like kind of counterintuitive, because if you're helping others, then that means you're helping your competition, but it's the right thing to do. So just put your thoughts in the comments below. All right, let's keep the show moving. Strategy 3, and this is a big one. You do not have to wait to save up 20% before buying a home. I know. Everyone talks about the magic of hitting that 20% down payment to avoid PMI or private mortgage insurance. It sounds sensible, but let me break down why this might actually end up costing you more in the long run. First off, trying to outsave the growth of the real estate market is like trying to race against a sprinter when you're just barely warming up. Every year as home prices potentially rise, the amount you need for a 20% down payment climbs right along with them. What was enough last year might not cut it this year, which means you're constantly chasing a moving target. Here's where getting into the market sooner, even with less than 20% down, can really start to work in your favor. By buying at today's prices with, say, 10% down, you allow the market's growth to increase the value of your home, essentially helping you build wealth without having to front all the cash right off the bat. Yes, there's the issue of PMI when you put less than 20% down, and it does mean your monthly payments will be slightly higher, but you can make smart steps to minimize that extra cost. How? By making additional principal payments after you've bought the home and when you are able. This reduces the total interest, accelerates the principal paydown, and decreases the PMI you pay over time. When your home value increases, giving you the 80-20 loan to value ratio, you can look at refinancing to eliminate PMI altogether. Many will argue that a 20% down payment gets you a better interest rate. This is absolutely true, but the difference in rate isn't that significant unless you consider its impact over the life of the loan. The savings on interest in the monthly payment will unlikely outweigh the gains from entering the market earlier, especially in a rising market. Putting a smaller down payment could be in lieu of paying off debt. As I mentioned in strategy number 1, a $30,000 car loan will run you over $500 a month, but $30,000 in mortgage will run you about $200. So you could opt to pay off your car loan and put less money down, and your overall expense will be lower. Weigh your costs. Sometimes entering the market with a lower down payment and accepting PMI for a short period of time could actually put you ahead financially, especially if the market continues to climb. It's all about timing and not getting stuck on traditional advice that might not align with today's market realities, especially here in San Diego. Before we move on, let's address the elephant in the room. You may be thinking that this entire strategy is based on the real estate market rising. So in the background, I'm sure you or someone else might be saying something along the lines of,
"The strategy is BS, and Karl doesn't know what he's talking about, and he's a real estate agent, so he's only trying to make you buy a home, and the market isn't always going up."
Yes, it's true that the market isn't always going up. Fact. If we look historically, the real estate market has more positive gains than negative though. We can go all the way back to the 1980s and see that there has been fewer down markets than up. So yes, the market doesn't always go up. Sometimes it goes down, sometimes it's flat, but an overwhelming majority of the time, it's up. Fact. Thankfully, due to housing shortage, population growth, and wage growth, with the exception of the 2008 financial crisis, regular corrections in the market don't last long. So even if it was the case that you bought and the price either declined or slightly stalled, it wouldn't last long, making the risk overall pretty minimal. All right, rolling into our final strategy. Strategy number 4 is all about maintaining your current situation. It's simple and at the same time extremely powerful. Avoid lifestyle inflation. This is by far the biggest hurdle that keeps people from being able to save money. As we start making more money, it's tempting to start spending more. So often I hear people immediately identify what they plan to spend their money on right after they've been given their raise, even though it hasn't been realized yet, especially if it's an hourly raise. While there is nothing wrong with treating yourself,
Treat yourself.
if buying a home is your goal, every extra dollar you can save by maintaining your current lifestyle has got to be funneled into that down payment fund. And don't forget that down payment is in an HYSA, so the more you can put away, the more it makes. Lifestyle inflation is the silent budget killer. One minute you're getting a pay raise and the next you're wondering where the hell all your money went. This strategy is about conscious spending. It's not about denying yourself an extra night out here or there, much less a well-earned vacation. But be mindful if it's truly worth it. Every extra dollar not put into your HYSA is delaying your dream of home ownership. Bottom line, celebrate your raises and bonuses responsibly. You can set a rule for yourself to save 70% of any raise and spend the rest on whatever your heart's desire with no regret. This way, you're still enjoying life and you're still making significant strides towards owning a home. By keeping your lifestyle in check and your expenses consistent, even as your income grows, you accelerate your savings without feeling the pinch. This isn't only about saving money, it's about smart financial growth and making your money work as hard for you as you worked for it. Now, here's an opportunity to look at your budget and look back at your last pay raise. Check your spending and see where that extra money is going and see if it's really that necessary. If not, cut it out and apply it to your debt or stash it in that HYSA that you have. Simple as that. Next to paying off your debt, avoiding lifestyle inflation is easily as impactful towards saving up for your down payment. Now here's an opportunity for you to help someone else. What's something that you can eliminate from your spending that you took on more recently as you started making more money? Whatever it is, drop it in the comments below and let's see if we can inspire others to do the same. Now, as promised, I told you at the end of the video, I would have an additional bonus strategy for you. Well, here it is, and it's pretty unconventional. Credit card hacking. Think of it as the Joker to Dave Ramsey's Batman. Now, you may have reservations about credit cards, and that's totally valid, especially if you busted your tail paying them all off as per strategy 1. But when used wisely, credit card hacking can be a major influence in accelerating your savings for a down payment.
It's a license to print money.
Credit card hacking, simply put, is about maximizing your credit card rewards to benefit your financial goals. Think about it. Every time you swipe your card, you can be earning cash back or points. And I'm not just talking about small amounts of change. Many cards offer up to 5% cash back on everyday purchases like groceries, gas, and even online shopping through platforms like Amazon. If you're spending money on these things anyways, why not credit card hack them and benefit from it all? It sounds like a no-brainer or an easy layup. Now here's how you tie this back to your goal of saving for a home. Instead of spending that cash back that you earn, you funnel every dollar of it into that high yield savings account where it's safe and earning you more interest. You're literally turning the rewards from your credit card companies on your necessary expenses into a tool to generate more interest and boost your down payment fund. It almost sounds too good to be true or illegal.
I don't believe this.
Here's the key. You have to be extremely disciplined. To truly benefit from credit card hacking, you need to pay off your balance every month in full. This avoids interest charges that can quickly negate any rewards you've earned. Personally, I make it a habit to check and pay off my balances every week. Yes, that's right. Every Friday morning without fail, I pay everything off. It might sound intense, but it keeps me on track and ensures I'm always using the credit cards to my advantage and not letting them use me. By integrating credit card rewards into your down payment savings strategy, you're not only saving money, you're actively earning it on every transaction. And remember, this isn't about getting more money. It's about making smarter use of the money you're already spending. So if you're comfortable and confident with using credit cards and can use them responsibly, this strategy could make a significant impact on your savings for your down payment. Now that's a wrap. I hope that you take these 4 to 5 strategies and implement them ASAP. If you have any questions or other ideas to share with others that are on the same path of saving money like you, drop them in the comments below. Let's help each other out here. Again, I'm here to help. So if you're ready to connect and talk about your next move, give me a ring and let's start planning your next step into home ownership. If you want to stay up to date on real estate topics that specifically impact San Diego, check out my San Diego Market Matters that drops almost every Sunday. There I give you market updates and keep you informed on any hot topics affecting the San Diego real estate market. Now don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel as well. As always, I'm Karl Kyler, your San Diego Realtor. I'll see you in the next video.